Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Only One Hotspur podcast. Today it is just me and Joe once again, and we are going to be previewing a massive game this weekend for the mighty Spurs as we take on Leicester City. And this will be our last home game of the season as well. So Joe, we're coming towards the tail end of the season now. Obviously, a couple of games left. But how do you see this one working out? Because Leicester, as we know, not been in the greatest of form for quite a while. I know that they did pick up a win against Sheffield United, which has helped us out massively in our push for Europa League football next season. And you know, we've picked up a couple of good results as well in the past week. So it should be an interesting game, right?
Should be, but then you never know. I think, obviously, just before we started this, obviously, we was talking about Leicester have got quite a few injury problems as well. As you just said as well, not in the greatest run of form, so they should be there for the beating. Whether or not we take advantage of that, we never know with Tottenham. I think we've got a fantastic opportunity. I think if we go and win this game, I think it really put us in a driving seat maybe for that Europa League position. I think because we really need to get that now. I think, but then Leicester have got a lot to play for as well, which we have to bear in mind because obviously Man United are breathing down their necks for top four. The battle between Man United, Leicester, and Chelsea is an interesting one. And at the minute, I think Leicester are looking probably the most likely to drop out of that. I think, obviously, Brendan Rodgers is a very good manager. I have to give him that. I think he's gone there to Leicester and done a very good job. I think, no one can deny that. Obviously, I think they've been a bit unlucky with injuries. Since the restart, they've struggled a bit as well, whether or not that's because they've got no fans and they thrive off that. Some teams I think have struggled with that more than others. I think, but you can never underestimate Leicester. I think they've got a good team spirit there. Which sadly we've seen in the past. But I think that they are there for the beating. I think obviously we've played slightly better in these past two games. It's looked more promising. I think us being at home might help. I think Jose has done quite well at that. I think when we've had the home games, we haven't looked like losing a game at all.
Well, we haven't, have we?
No, exactly. I was just double checking that in my head. But obviously the United game, obviously we drew. West Ham, Everton, we won, and Arsenal, we won as well. Love that, by the way, still. But I think, and it's got more promising in each game, I think, as well. Maybe apart from the West Ham Everton games, I think they were very, very similar. Very boring games. But apart from that United game, we haven't really. I think we've justified the wins. We've gone out there, get the job done, and then just made sure it was done. So part of me is fairly confident for this game because I think Jose has started to bring that in. I think just that bit more winning, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen that clip. What has come out today? Obviously, I won't repeat what he says, but I'm sure you've seen it, and I think we are now starting to see that actually. The players are just sort of being hard to beat. They aren't being as nice as what we have seen. Because I actually agree with what Jose said in that clip. I fully agree with it. I think at times he was too nice, and that we did need to be what he said.
Be a bit different. Be a bit different, perhaps.
Yeah, be a bit naughty. Be a little bit naughty. But I think that is something what we've needed in the club. I think I fully agree with it. That I think if you look at it, I think one of the perfect examples is going back a couple of seasons, but Juventus in the Champions League. I think they are one of the prime examples of, well, they definitely were back then of they just win. And we was obviously had the advantage when we went 1-0 up on the night, I believe, didn't we, at Wembley when it was 2-2 on that on the away leg. So even if Juventus scored one goal, we'd still go through. So you think, okay, look, let's make sure. I think if Jose was in charge, maybe for that game, probably, obviously this is a couple of years ago, but I think we probably would have gone through because, or if we'd have had that fight in us. But then obviously we conceded 2 fairly quick fire goals and ended up going out because we didn't have that nastiness in us. I think we, too nice. But going back to obviously this season and since Jose's come in, definitely since the restart, we have looked more nasty. We have looked harder to beat. Obviously, apart from that Sheffield United game. So yeah, I'm fairly confident for this Leicester game. I think considering their injuries, considering their run of form, and considering that we have looked more promising and harder to beat. However, you can never underestimate Leicester. I think, yeah. What are your feelings?
I think mine are fairly similar to yours in that this is probably one of the better times perhaps to play Leicester. Got a lot of key players out missing through injury and or suspension and whatnot. So I think it's down to us really to take advantage of that. As I mentioned, they got a good win against Sheffield United. That really helped us out. And I actually thought Leicester looked okay, but Sheffield United were quite poor that day. It wasn't one of Sheffield United's performances that we've seen a lot of the time in the Premier League this season. But credit to Leicester, they got the job done in the end. Be interesting to see how they set up, and I know we're going to go through our lineups in a minute or so. But yeah, it's going to be interesting because they've seemed to have changed formation in recent games. So they've switched from say like a 4-1-4-1 to a 3 at the back and stuff. So again, it's going to be interesting to see how they go about it. I think Brendan will want to get one over on Mourinho, given I think one of the last times these two met, Jose done him over big time. We all know what happened. Jose parked everything, double deckers, limousines, mountain trucks, you name it, he parked it at Anfield that day. In effect cost Liverpool the league when Rodgers was there. So I think Rodgers wants to get one over on Mourinho, a little bit of revenge maybe for that. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Hopefully, it'll be a good game as well. So yeah, that's sort of my thoughts on it really. Like I say, it's probably a bit similar to yours. But yeah, like I say, I think the onus is on us to really go out and try and get the 3 points. Although Leicester will need those points as well. That's a fine, that, by the way. That's a fine, that. Definite fine. But no, it's Leicester are gonna want those points so they can try and secure that Champions League spot for next season. Guys, you're gonna have to put in the comment section the fine for Joe for his phone going off during recording. So Joe, anyway, mentioned it there about our predicted lineups. How do we think this one is gonna look for both sides? We'll start with Tottenham because we are the home team for this one. So how do you see Spurs lining up?
Obviously, Hugo in goal. I just want to say how solid he has looked since restart again. Obviously, there's question marks around whether or not Serge will be playing. I personally don't think he will be playing this game because obviously he's gone back to France to be with his family now. Probably obviously planning for his brother's funeral. So I don't think he will be playing. So obviously, sort of echoing what I said for the Newcastle game. I think it's either going to be Tanganga to come in at right back, which I think is the most likely scenario. And then I think obviously the other person who I think might play there. I don't think this is as much, likely as Tanganga, to be fair, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if he actually played Skippy. Got the new contract. Obviously, he said that he's been looking at him at right back position. I don't think that's Skip's best position at all. I think he might struggle out there a little bit, but if Jose's seen something in him in training, that'll be interesting. Obviously, he signed this new contract in the week, which both of us are really happy about. I know. I think a very tidy player. He's sort of got that Harry Winks about him, but I think, as we said the other day, he's got that bit more bite, that bit more defensive qualities in him, I think. And obviously, Jose is sort of like said that he could potentially be a future Tottenham captain, which I think is very interesting, and I personally like. Yeah, so I think Tanganga, if not maybe Skip, but I'm saying 75 to 80% chance of JT in there. Then I think it's going to be pretty much the same team as it has been for the past few games. So Toby, Sanchez, Davis, Winks, Sissoko, Mora, Gio, Son, and Kane. I think he's starting with that team quite a lot now. Obviously, they've gone out and got the jobs done. It's been a lot more promising. So I can't see him changing too much. If it's working, why change it? Simple as that. I think obviously defence has looked a lot better. I think Sissoko has actually had a couple all right games. Obviously, still, but yeah, I won't be too negative. We won the 2 games. But he has had promising, better performances. Obviously, I think Harry Winks being in that team, we see the difference when he does play. We really see the difference when he plays. The only other change what I might make is maybe like Lamella in for Gio. Maybe rotate them 2 a little bit, just because I know Jose said that Gio is still carrying that injury a little bit. Obviously, he's still played, but with his groin. So whether or not he rests him and brings him on, I think will be the only other one. Maybe a little switch up, but I think Gio will still feature no matter what. But yeah, that's my team. I think pretty straightforward, to be honest. I assume that you probably are going for something quite similar.
Yeah. You usually call me out on this one and I'm going to go for something completely different. But no, I think I think the lineup is starting to become almost that it picks itself kind of feel, that kind of vibe to the team. Probably the one change which I think we're all going to anticipate, which will be Tanganga in for Aurier at right back. Interesting though, you've mentioned that Skip might play there. I thought you was going to say perhaps Jedson, because you always seem to mention Jedson in the right back slot, but you've refrained from that one today.
I think that, as I've said, I think the only way I think Gedson would play there is if it's a back 3, and I don't think he will want to change from that back 4, because I think the back 4 has actually looked solid. A lot more solid than it has done. So I don't think he will change the whole shape. I think he'll literally just want to bring someone in like a straight swap, rather than having to change a whole system just to fit in one player. And I think Skip would be a better fitted right back than Gedson, if that makes sense. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no. Like I say, it's I anticipate that Tanganga will probably come in at right back for Aurier. But yeah, I think other than that, I don't see too much change. And Jose seems to have a lot of trust in that group of players, and maybe perhaps one or two on the bench as well, which is probably why he hasn't done or made a lot of changes in games. I know obviously the 5 sub rules come into play, but Jose hasn't used all 5 subs, I don't think, in any of the games.
No.
So yeah, it's probably down to a trust thing. Like, he only trusts certain squad members. It'd be interesting to see what happens with Vertonghen. Could potentially be his last home game for us. But then I do believe Jose came out and said that, it's a bit unfair for him to kind of talk and comment on it. Jose's been there 8 months, Jan's been there 8 years, which is a long time in football these days, especially. So, yeah, it could be one of those whereby Jan might get a bit of a look in or a little cameo. If it is the final goodbye for him at home, obviously we'd have loved it to been with the fans there and stuff like that. But yeah, unfortunately that can't happen. So yeah, like I say, Jan might get a little bit of a cameo and stuff. I think the players are planning to do a little something at the end. They do usually do a lap of honour or a lap of appreciation. I think they are still gonna do that from what I've seen, which will be quite interesting because there's no one there. But yeah, so yeah, if we can sort of say goodbye to Jan in some way, if it is to be, there's, he could still sign a new contract as well. Let's not rule that out. And I think from what I've seen as well, I've seen a lot of other clubs sign players to another contract, and you think, like, why are they doing that? I think Liverpool have done it with Dejan Lovren. They've given him a new contract, and again, you're questioning that. But actually, it's probably cheaper, and with what's going on right now in the state that we're in, it's probably cheaper to give a player a new contract than spend however much it could be to to get another defender in or another player in. So that, like I say, there's still that option there as well, I think.
Yeah, I think just on that one with Jan, say if this is his last game or something at home, it would be a massive shame because I think he has got such a strong connection with the fans. I absolutely love the guy, and I think something will need to be done, whether or not they manage to fit in like a testimonial. I know obviously you get a testimonial after 10 years or something, but I think this is a bit of a special one, a bit of different circumstances. Like, Jan has pretty much played for us 8 years on the bounce, pretty much most games. Like, I can't really remember him even having like a major injury. He had a little injury, I remember, where Kevin Wimmer came in.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I can't really remember him having a major time out of the side, rather than really this season at times. And I think for someone to do that for so long at a club like us, I think he needs to be given such credit. He probably could have gone and played for a team who was guaranteed to win trophies. In his prime, him and Toby were unreal. Like, probably one of the best centre-back partnerships in the league at the time. Probably the best. And I think, obviously, for there to be no fans there, I think something needs to be looked at. Maybe a testimonial when it's all safe, or something else. Like, something needs to be done if it has to be his last. Obviously, I'd love for him to sign a new contract. Whether or not that happens, we'll have to wait and see. I think the later and later it gets, the more unlikely it seems. But I'll be gutted. I will be gutted when he goes. But yeah, he's had such a strong connection with the fans. Something needs to be done, and I think obviously, I don't see why not, because I think Daniel Levy will be making money out of it. So, do you know what I mean? I think a lot of the players would be up for it. You know, former players who have played with Jan, players within the squad, because I think Jan is such an appreciated member of the team. You know, maybe even get Potin.
Does that mean we might get to see Moussa Dembele back in a Spurs shirt?
Imagine that. Like,
I'm there, sold.
Exactly. Like, have Pochettino as one of the managers, Jose as one of the managers. Imagine that. Moussa Dembele.
Scotty Parker, Sandro, get them lot back.
I'm getting excited here. God, like, could you imagine how good that would be? But you know, that's something what I do want to be seen done. If it has to be his last game, and I think there'll be quite a few people who agree with what I've said there, because as I've said a couple of times, he's got such a strong connection with the fans. You know, super Jan. Absolutely love the guy. But yeah, anyway, so carry on with your team selection.
Yeah, well, I've pretty much summed it up, to be fair,
Yeah.
Joe. But we'll move on to our visitors, Leicester City. How do you see them lining up?
I don't really know, because, as you've said, like, got so many injuries. So this is going to be quite a hard one. Obviously, Kasper Schmeichel in goal. You've said, I can't say the guy's name. The one who looks like Lord Farquhar.
Soyuncu.
Yeah, Soyuncu.
Kags.
Yeah, so he's obviously injured. Potentially.
Suspended.
So, suspended.
Yeah, because he smashed Callum Wilson to Pete. He's absolutely taken a massive swipe at him after one of the Bournemouth goals. And honestly, if nobody's seen it, please check it out. It's ridiculously funny, because you just can't believe he's actually done it.
No.
But you know, he has done it, and it's just one of those. You just go, what are you doing? What are you playing at?
Yeah, one of them. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just having a quick little look at the Leicester team what played last game, because I'm just now thinking, like, who else do they actually have at the back? Like Johnny Evans. Can they clone him, or is that not allowed? I'm sure that'll be frowned upon. VAR probably allow it though.
They might not, because it's not a Man United decision.
That's a very good point. Oh yeah, they've got that Ryan Bennett, don't they?
Yeah.
That's a loan signing as well, weren't it? That was That was one of the weirdest signings I've ever seen, by the way. So yeah, well, probably be the back three what played the last game. I'm not looking at it, don't you worry. So Wes Morgan, Ryan Bennett, and Johnny Evans.
I'm not looking at it, I promise.
Well, it's got to be done, innit? But that defence, like, there's opportunities there. Wes Morgan is like, how old now and how slow?
I think Wes Morgan's about 35.
But he turns like a truck, mate. So
makes Fazio look quick.
God, don't go that far. Don't want to put the disrespect on Wes Morgan that much. Fazio's more like a combine harvester, mate. But yeah, I think then they'll probably play with the fullbacks. I think I've got it from here. Obviously, James Justin, I think, will play. Mark Albrighton. And by the way, I actually quite like Mark Albrighton. I've always said this. Like, I think he's just one of them guys. He's never going to go in and get you a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. But he's so consistent. He goes out, gets the job done, 100%. He can play in multiple positions. And he's just one of them players who I kind of like. Like, you never really notice him, but then he'll pop up with like a really good cross or a pass or tap. You know, he's like just one of them. I quite like him. I'm pretty sure he actually got Leicester's first ever Champions League goal, by the way. Little interesting stat for you.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that's right. If not, I'm going to look like a right idiot now. I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one though. But yeah, so obviously I think them two will be their sort of wing backs. Then they'll have Yuri Tielemans and probably Ndidi in the middle. Obviously, two very good players. I reckon Damari Gray, another player who I like. I have to admit. Maybe Perez, and then Jamie Vardy obviously up top. And I have to admit I quite like Perez as well. And obviously Vardy's just, well, I can't say what he is because the kids might be listening. I'm sure, but it's got house in the name. So yeah, I think that's the way I'm going to go for the Leicester lineup. I only looked at the defence, don't you worry. But yeah, you're probably going to say something different for this one now, aren't you?
Slightly different, not too much, but just slightly different. So yeah, I think Schmeichel will play in goal, back three of Bennett, Morgan and Evans, James Justin at right wing back. There is some question marks over Mark Albrighton, so he is a doubt for the game. So it might be the young lad Thomas that played at left wing back against Sheffield United. He actually put in a fairly decent performance as well. Looked fairly comfortable there. Could be another player off the Leicester production line. So I have a feeling that he might play. If not, then probably, as you said, Mark Albrighton will probably play. Tielemans and Ndidi in the middle. This is where I think they might change it up a little bit. So I think they might play Jose Perez is like a number 10. And then have Vardy and Iniacho up top. That's the way I see Leicester playing. But I mean, the lineup that you went with is equally as as one that could quite happen. I think Harvey Barnes might get a bit of a look in as well.
That's true. Good player he is.
Yeah, he was instrumental for West Brom in the first half of last season on loan there, and then Leicester recalled him, and I think he's done quite well at Leicester since. I do expect a little bit more from him at times. Want to see that sort of form that he had at West Brom. I want to see him try and replicate that for Leicester. I know the level's slightly different, Championship and the Premier League, but we've seen it with some players. They've made that step up from the Championship, like Maddison, for example, took to the Premier League like a duck to water, really, and stuff. So yeah, I think that's what I just want to see a little bit more from Harvey Barnes and stuff. So Joe, we've gone through our predicted lineups. Who do we think is going to be key for the two sides? Again, we'll start with Tottenham.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one because it all does depend on the way Leicester line up. Obviously, they're looking like they're going to have to go the back three. So I'm going to say our wingers are going to be vital in this because obviously I think they're very used to playing a back four. Obviously their wing backs might get up that bit more, so there might be spaces in behind their wing backs. So I think that's maybe an area what we can exploit. And obviously their centre halves aren't exactly the quickest. So if you've got Moore and Son running at them, trying to run in behind, I think that could be very key for us. I'm gonna go and say Gio again or Lamella, whoever plays out of them two. I think trying to get them balls either out wide into the spaces in behind or slotting it through to Kane, because I think there is going to be opportunities there. We've got to be playing quick football against Leicester with that back three, because I think if you just take your time with that, they're going to be able to set up, and defensively them three are very good. They're very solid. But their weakness is probably turning and trying to defend when the ball's gone behind them. So I think we've got to be quick with that. So I think Gio, Lamella are going to be very key with that. Obviously Winks as well, trying to set that tempo. I think Sissoko will need to have a very, very good battle against Ndidi, because I rate Ndidi so highly. Obviously we'll get onto the Leicester one in a little bit, so I'll leave that for them. I think, I think Tanganga, when he comes in, I think he's got an opportunity to really stake his claim. Like I was saying for the Newcastle game, obviously it didn't happen. I think, there's a chance there to really prove yourself. So hopefully he goes and takes it. Obviously Kane, I think there's opportunities for him to score in this game. Well, everyone's going to be key. If you simple as that. But I think I don't expect Toby, Sanchez, and Davis to stand out that much in this game. I think we should be taking it to Leicester. Obviously, they will have to watch Jamie Vardy. I think that will be Sanchez's job because of the pace. But yeah, I think that's who I think is going to be key, and why I think they're going to be key for us, to be honest. Yeah. What about you?
I think Sanchez is going to be key for us, as you said there, with his pace, trying to live with Vardy. Vardy's a tricky customer, really. He's not going to let the centre halves have a moment's peace. He is a bit of a nightmare to play against because he just doesn't stop. He's one of those that doesn't stop running, but he'll also, I imagine, will give plenty of gob to the centre halves. Be in their ears every 5 minutes. That kind of thing. So yeah, Sanchez with his pace, I think, is going to be key to try and nullify Vardy. I think Winks is going to be key. I think I pretty much say this every time that I put him in my team or my predicted lineup. He's just so key to getting us playing and getting us ticking over. Keeps the ball so well, and like I say, he's the one that gets us playing. So I think he's the one that's going to set the tempo for us and look to play the game at our pace and not at Leicester's pace. Again, I think, as you mentioned, the two wide boys are going to be key, running at that back line. But I think also doing a defensive shift for the team as well, because Leicester might look to dominate the ball in this game. I think Jose might almost be happy to allow them to do that, and then we try and hit them on the counter. So yeah, I think the two wide lads will be key. Sissoko might be key as well, doing a bit of covering if and when he needs to. He seems to do that quite a lot in matches, and gets a lot of praise for it off of a lot of fans. But yeah, and then Harry Kane again. Always a key player for us. I think we've always got a chance of getting something from a game if Harry Kane is playing. He does like a goal against Leicester as well, considering they said he's a poor man's Jamie Vardy. He does love a goal against Leicester. So I don't know if it's that or the added motivation that his loan spell there didn't go to plan. But yeah, Kane just loves scoring against Leicester. So I think he'll be key for us as always. And as I've said previously, he's got to try and get players into play as well. And as I said for the Newcastle review, I don't actually think it was his best game, but yet he still scored 2. So is that the mark of a good striker? Probably. So yeah. Anyway, Joe, who's going to be key for the Foxes if they're going to get anything out of this game?
Well, I'm going to go straight to Ndidi. This guy is unreal. I think he's probably the best defensive mid in the league. To be perfectly honest with you, like, his stats are unreal. The way he just runs the game for Leicester. I would absolutely love him at Tottenham. Never going to happen because it won't. But he's good tackler. Gets the ball moving again. Intercepts well. Like, what more? He's a big presence in that midfield for them. So he is a very, very key for them because he's an absolute baller. Simple as that. I think obviously Jamie Vardy. We all know what he can do. I think, he can go quite quiet in games. I think a bit like Harry Kane against Newcastle, but then he'll just pop up, boom, goal. You're like, oh, he's here. He'll make that one run where you're not expecting it. He'll be quiet for 80 minutes, and 10 minutes he's got 2 goals or something like. And he's a very, very good striker. I don't think anyone will argue that. I think at the back, I think Wes Morgan's going to be key. Obviously, he's a very, very good leader. Obviously, Johnny Evans is a good leader as well, to be fair to him. So I think them two at the back are going to be very key for Leicester. Trying to, lead that defensive unit. Obviously, Kasper Schmeichel as well. He's a very good goalkeeper. They've got some very, very good players in that team. Yuri Tielemans, absolute baller as well. He's very good passer of the ball. And, I really like him. You've got Perez. I think he's a very, very underrated player, Perez. I think he goes unnoticed a lot for what he does. I think Mark Albrighton, as I said, I rate him quite highly just because he just goes and puts in the 7s each week. Never really gets massive praise, but that is hard to do in the Premier League, just to be as consistent as he has been. But yeah, I think that's quite a quick run over who I think is going to be key. But I think the most key player for them is Ndidi. Just absolute unit and baller. But yeah, what about you?
I think the 2 wing backs are going to be very key for Leicester because they've got to get up and down the pitch quite a lot, obviously in an attacking sense and a defensive sense as well. And that's probably where I imagine a lot of Leicester's wit's going to come from in the game as well. So they've got to take up some really, really good positions, especially when Leicester do have the ball to be an option. If it's a bit tight in the midfield, can they then look to spread it out to those wing backs? Agree with you on Ndidi in the sense that he's going to be key. Looks to break up the play, stop attacks, but I think his distribution of the ball as well is key. So after he's won it, he usually picks out a teammate, and I think that's usually key. Especially for that type of position and the role that he does for them. I think Johnny Evans will be key at the back. Been a lot of talk of him potentially could have gone and played, for Man City at one point, when he was at West Brom. But I think Johnny Evans has come in and has been superb really since he's been at Leicester. Has rarely put a foot wrong. I know he got done by who was it? Player by Arsenal the other game, but I think other than that, he's barely.
Oh, is it Saka?
Yeah, but then Saka's tearing everyone a new one at the minute, so I think we can forgive him for that one. I think Vardy's going to be key. The runs off the ball that he makes. As I mentioned earlier, he's just being a nuisance. Doesn't give a defender a moment's peace. He'll look to stretch the game. So can the likes of Ndidi, Tielemans, or even Johnny Evans and Ryan Bennett or Wes Morgan, can they find him and be a bit more direct at times when they have to be? Vardy 100% going to be key for us as well. Let's hope he's on penalties because I think the last one he took he missed at Wembley last season. Thought I'd get that one in. I think that was his first touch as well because he come off the bench as a sub. So.
Then I'm sure we went and scored pretty much quite soon after.
Yeah, Sonny put the game beyond doubt, I think. And I actually think that was Davinson Sanchez's first Tottenham goal in that game as well. So yeah, those are the guys that I see being key for Leicester. And Ndidi and Tielemans especially. If they want to control the game, they've really got to be up for it. Chances are it could be up against Winks, Sissoko, and or another. I think those guys will be very, very key for Leicester in trying to get them playing and as I say, try and help them get a result for them. Obviously, it's not something that we want, You know, we're pushing for something to play for as well. Joe, just final one then. Your score prediction: who's going to score, and who are the over 18s going to be putting a bet on?
Right, I'm going to go for a 2-0. Tottenham, by the way, make that very clear. I think Kane's going to get one, and I think Gio. I think Kane and Gio are going to score. If not Gio, I'll go for Lamela. I think one of them two is going to score. To be honest with you, obviously I know I've gone for a clean sheet. I think we've kept a fair few clean sheets since the restart. Obviously I haven't in the past couple of games, but I think that's something that Jose will want out of this game as well. Is a clean sheet. I think 2-0 Tottenham. 2-0 Tottenham.
Nice. No obscure goal scorer this week.
No, I can't say Dyer because he's actually. I might just still say Dyer even though he's suspended. He's gonna say, instead of running into the stands, he's going running down from the stands. No, he's gonna score against Palace. Don't you worry.
Brilliant. Yeah. Brilliant. For me, I'm gonna go 2-1. Kane and Son. Sonny scored against Leicester last season at the King Power, and that was an unbelievable goal. And Harry Kane just loves scoring against Leicester, so it's always worth putting him down. And then for Leicester, I've got a feeling that it might be Johnny Evans for some bizarre reason. So I'll have the obscure one this time.
You always say a defender is going to score.
Yeah, because we can't defend a set piece to save our life. So
I'm pretty sure we haven't conceded a set piece in a fair bit now.
But it's just one of those where I'm always, conscious and worried at the way we are from set pieces. So yeah, I've got a feeling that perhaps a defender might get one. If not, again, I wouldn't put it past Jamie Vardy to score, just not from 12 yards. Yeah, right, guys, that is it for our preview. Again, don't forget to like the video on YouTube, comment your thoughts on team selection and goal scorers. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are going to be doing a giveaway once we hit 100 subscribers. So if need be, tell all your mates, tell your friends, tell your family to hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on as well, so you know every time that we post onto YouTube. We're also on Spotify, so give us a follow on there, and follow us on social media for more Tottenham-based content at Only One Hotspur for that. And up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.